Hi, I'm Gary from Martin Lynch Sons, and today I'm joined with Richard from VE2DX Electronics, and he's come all the way from Quebec, and just to sort of really show us some of the equipment and bits and pieces that he's actually come up with, and just how useful it is. So Richard, who is this for, and what is it, and how can we use it?
Well, first, thank you, Gary, and everybody for having me here. I'm very happy to visit you guys while I'm in the UK, and hoping to come back real soon. Basically, VE2DX Electronics, what I did when I started in 2020 was trying to create products to help the hams. A lot of the products are very, very old, and they needed to be refreshed, or they need new technology, and that's basically what we did. So we start with
yeah, I mean, at the moment we've got a 7300 here connected up to, and this one is the
7DM, basically a CT17B-7DM. CT17Bs are Icom CI5 hubs, which is the control communication protocol of Icom, and it uses a regular audio cable, stereo or mono. Normally you should be using mono, but my products are adapted. These two type of device, the 6BT and the 7DMs, also have Bluetooth. As you can see, the blue light is telling me right now that I'm connected via Bluetooth to the 705, so that if I change the frequency on the 705, the link to the 7300 also changes the frequency on the 7300. This is called transceive. It's a very simple way of sharing information between devices. This could be a linear, it could be a tuner, it could be a band selector, whatever you want it to be. So this big improvement, because what was missing on the 705 was a CI5 port, none. So when you come back from camping with your 705, you get it into the shack, you want to hook it up to your step IR or something else, then you couldn't do that. Now you can with the VE2DX CT17Bs.
So that means that you can take your 705, add a good bunch of CIV
ports, yes.
And then actually use that CIV sort of setup to control something like one of the expert amplifiers or something.
Yes, absolutely. Expert does support that.
And before anyone says anything, this is not a great idea to connect two radios together like that and have them follow frequencies, but we're pretending this is going to be an amplifier and just demonstrating what it's doing. So, okay, so we've got sort of something now. I mean, is that the main sort of thing and that this will do, and that's it? It will just add from Bluetooth, it will give you CIV out. Can you do anything else?
No. The CT17s as such will support anything from the 735 from the 80s, the Icom 735, all the way up to the newer 705, 905, 9700s. The beauty of it is there are some basic versions like the CT17B5V2, and it has in there a very high technology for filtering and leveling. The reason why is that, without going too much into technology, TTL, which is what is the protocol that is used by CI5 electronically, TTL is, everybody thinks it's a 0 or 5 volt protocol. It's not. It's ranges of voltages, as you see in this image right now that we're putting onto the screen. And basically what happens is that the range of voltages that triggers TTL can be anywhere from 2 volts to 5 volts. And those are totally within standard. Here's the problem. We're ham radio operators. We work with interference and RF and everything else. So it's quite easy to have on your TTL 1.5 volts of interference. If you're at 3.3 volts, you're going to drop into the 0 range and cause you some trouble. This next image will show you in a hub environment how this resolves that. Basically, we take a very low, on the right-hand side, very low signal with high interference. We filter it everywhere. Power, grounds, signals, everything is filtered. Then we bring it back up to a common bus at maximum levels to get rid of any possible interference and output it at always maximum TTL levels of 5 volts. So all your other devices connected to any of the 4 other ports are all seeing perfect signals, even though the original signals were far from perfect. So that's the big thing inside of our hubs. And the same technology is used in other of our devices. The 2 that you see here are the 6BT, which is Bluetooth and 5 ports, the 7DM, which is Bluetooth, USB, and 5 ports. You also have available 5 ports with USB only, 5 ports with through TTL, which is that technology that VE2DX designed. And we have a very low cost 5-port, just basic filtering at about 60 some odd Ps. I'll let the guys from ML&S market it for you. But it's very low cost. It doesn't have all the technology that the more advanced hubs have, but it's very nice if you just want to try to start doing that.
Okay, the other thing I was going to ask was, if I've got say this connected to this via Bluetooth, and you said earlier on this is capable of USB.
Yes.
Does that mean that perhaps I could use software to track the frequency?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the goals. The first reason why I created the first Bluetooth devices was to offer a separation in the shack of RF and PCs. That was my goal, and at the same time, Icom came out with a 705. And everybody started complaining that there is no CFI ports, and they've got step IRs or expert linears or something else they want to use it in the shack. So that's when the market for the 705 really blew up. But yes, you can link the PC either with Bluetooth, either with USB. You could have a 705 linked by Bluetooth to the hub, and by USB control it with softwares, HRD, whatever software you want, and that will work just fine.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so we've looked at the 2 here, and just for clarification, the USB on this one is for power only.
Yes.
That does not offer. That's the main difference.
Yes.
That this does not offer any USB sort of like communication. It's just power only, and that one is the BT.
6BT.
The 6BT. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay, we've got the boxes around the wrong way. But this one will do that USB configuration. And,
yes.
All right, brilliant. So that kind of brings us on then, I suppose, to the little meter.
Yes, basically what these are very small meter that has the possibility of linking, again, Bluetooth to 5100, ID50 to 705, whatever you want to link it to. But also, thanks to, again, a VE2DX hub of 3 ports right here, you have the possibility of attaching any radios all the way down to the 7000 or the 756 Pro 3, all the way up to the 905. And that will put, let's take 2 seconds and we'll hook it up.
Okay.
It's not going to be very long, sorry about that. Okay, so the baby's coming up. I'm going to go into pairing, and I'm going to attach it to that one, yeah. Okay, and now what we're going to have, as soon as it's connected, basically what you've got now is everything information-wise from the 705 is shown on the display. There are 4 different displays. You okay? And some of them are needles, which is great. When's the last time you had, even on the 756 Pro 3, you did not have a 2-inch needle. You do now. You have another needle version, which has the frequency on it. And you have 2 different type of bar graph. A very complete, even with audio levels and everything else, and a more simple one. Obviously, we don't have an antenna here, so very little data, but the goal is basically to try to get important information always available to you. The problem with the Icom human interface, it's an incredible human interface. But if you look right here, just under my finger, this is where your SWR would show up on that very, very, very small bar graph. This would be a lot better. And here's an interesting feature. On the VE2DX Icom meter, you have also SWR alarms. At the top of the meter, where the call sign shows up, if the SWR on the radio is too high, that call sign will switch to red and white writing that says ISWR.
Yeah.
And Gary asked me to throw in there, he always does this, to throw in there a new feature of having a beeping. There will be. When that feature happens, there will be a beeping. I'm going to work that out probably around January.
And the reason why I asked that is because we get quite a lot of visually impaired sort of radio hams asking for all sorts of features, and I think that one there will be another one that comes up, and that is this able to speak any of the values? But I see, I thought I was going to throw that one in there anyway. But that's another story. We won't go into that.
2025, okay?
All right, 2025.
Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah, okay. But in that same vein, there's actually another interesting product that you've got here, and that is the HDMI.
Yes.
For the people that maybe want a bigger display, and we get asked this, if we got sort of a big SWR meter, this is going to completely blow your mind, because you can have this 65-inch SWR meter if you really wanted.
This guy is about the size of my thumb. Okay, I hope I said that right. Sorry, guys, I'm French-Canadian. I apologize for my English. I'm still trying to learn UK English. And this little baby is a very simple device. It has on one side an HDMI port. On the other side, it has a USB port used mainly for power and also for upgrading. The upgrades, as Gary
we've
will
covered
tell
that. Yeah, we've had online sort of like debates about the upgrading.
Oh yeah, the upgrades is really easy to do with the new approach. If you look very carefully, you'll notice two very, very small black connectors. That's actually the same thing as this guy. It's basically a CI5 hub with the true CI5 technology. Okay, and basically uses the same thing. What I do with this software is I send it to the largest monitor you got in the shack, and no, your wife does not need to know about the 85-incher you just ordered after this video. And by plugging it into here, you can hide this. You see it's nicely designed on DIM rails, easy to install with screw holes or tape or whatever else. And the results is incredible. Right now, you got two possible displays switched around the same way. A single button here that we click to switch from screen to screen or go into the setup. There is an advanced setup that, thanks to Gary's feedback, that we've modified, and we're making it better day by day. So by January, it's going to be completely converted to the new setup, and it's going to be a lot easier to do. But even for the basic function, this is real easy to do. Basically, single click to go one way, double click to go the other way, hold to go into a menu or select function. Oh yeah, there are two displays right now, two with bar graphs, and one which has bar graphs and a combination of a needle. Needle is about 1/4 of the display, and the rest is all bar graphs, frequencies,
we
and
can actually set this up in a moment, so we can actually have a look. That's probably the best.
That's what we should do now.
Yeah. Okay then. Right. Well, before we move on, just to sort of say that the main thing that sort of sets these apart now, before lots of people sort of say there are other meters and stuff on the market.
Yes.
What actually sets this apart from more than anything else is, number one, is the true TTL feature, but it's also the ability to gain the CI5 or CIV ports from a 705, which does not have them, and that is a huge benefit. And that's where all of the sort of majority of the hard work, and not only just software and things, but has actually gone to get this to function.
And there is a lot more. this has satellite radio support.
Right.
On a 9700, if you put it on, you will see your transmit and receive frequencies. If you are in FM on the VHF, UHF, and you've got tones, you will see your tones. You don't get that on those features. There's a lot more information being shown on these than any other in the market. Okay. There are very few, and I'm glad to say that this is the only one that supports CI5 also. So because of that, we can plug in through CI5, through Bluetooth, through Wi-Fi direct to the radio. Yeah. If the radio is supporting LAN, like 9700 or 705, through Wi-Fi to the PC, if the radio is USB attached via PC. And that means because of that, we can support 23 different types of radio all the way back to the 7000 or 756 Pro 3. We're basically offering a meter or even better, an HDMI port on devices that never had them. I mean,
just to be clear though, the HDMI port does not give you the screen. There's no sort of throughput. It gives you a set menu, a set display,
image,
which is programmed into the little box itself.
Yeah, so. And the goal behind that was mainly to free up the display of the 7610 or the 7300 or 705, free up the display for band scope, and put everything else either on a monitor using the VE2DX HDMI interface, or put it on a small meter using the VE2DX meter.
So let's get that hooked up then, and we'll have a quick look at that. Okay, Richard, so we've just come over from the other island, and you've configured this now in the same way as we did with the other devices. We've just connected it via Bluetooth, and actually Richard brought up an interesting point about if you find that suddenly something doesn't want to connect with the 705, that you need to do the initialize devices and just get rid of all the other.
In the menu of the 705, there is an initialized Bluetooth. It's very important. When you do a lot of connections back and forth, trying your stuff, and suddenly nothing works, just initialize it. It's going to lose all your Bluetooth device, be advised, but it's going to resolve your issue. I've talked to Icom, I've advised them of this, they're looking into it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so, so as we said earlier on, the little meter is fantastic, gives you that extra little display and everything.
Yeah.
It's quite small, and you said, oh, no problem, there's a solution. I don't think you can get much bigger than that. I mean,
well, yeah, you could get an 85-incher, but you know, we got to talk to Henry. Try to get you some. Oh yeah, we'll get you a bigger TV. But basically, yeah, what this baby does, and it's right over here. What this baby, as small as it is, what it does is basically give you an HDMI interface on any Icom radios from the 7000 all the way up to the newer 9700, 705, 905s. The same way as the small meters, they can connect many different ways. There is even CI5 connection on this baby, as we saw on the previous portion of the video, the two black connectors. Those are CI5 connectors.
Yeah, well, just to add,
just plug this, and we can connect into the remote port that Icom has.
Right now they're not supported by the 705 as we're doing this video.
That's right. The 705 is connected by Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Because it does not have CI5 ports.
Yeah.
So we have right now a link, Bluetooth link, between the radio and the interface, and the data, same data from the radio is being shown on the large monitor. Mm-hmm. Now, again, as we said before, people will say, well, you know, can't you do the band scope? Well, band scope technically is a little bit too loaded as far as amount of data has to go back and forth for this type of application, especially the Bluetooth is limited in speed. But the goal here is to free up, as you can see, band scope so that you get your band scope. You cannot see or barely see SWR or anything like that. Well, right now on the big screen, you've got all that information and more.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, VE2DX Electronics, we offer, in place of your call sign over here, that can be configurable. If you get high SWR, anything above 3, that will flash red and white and maybe beep as Gary asked me, I'm looking into that. But we basically offer a lot of information that you cannot see easily on the radio.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I think
we got one more.
One more.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's more.
There's more. We got more.
Fair enough.
Let's go back to the other spot.
All right. Brilliant. So, as promised, one more product.
Yeah.
Now, this one is something that I think we've been asked for an awful lot, and is where someone has two radios and maybe a selection, or maybe even only, maybe one or two other antennas, but they want to be able to swap two radios between lots of antennas, and there's probably other uses for it as well. And that is this antenna switch. Now, Richard sings the praises of this, and it's absolutely brilliant. It does look really, really good. There are a few bits and pieces that he's going to tell us about, I'm sure. So, yeah, tell us a bit about it.
Okay, well, basically this is a 2x6 switch, which means you can have two separate radios connected to the same 6 antennas. Obviously not using the same antenna at the same time, and we'll talk about that after, but they can use separate different antennas at the same time because we have 80 dB isolation between the two radios. So they're totally separate. As you can see, the setup is simple. The warnings that you should please follow. And here's the inside of the baby. You want to hold me? Yeah. Okay, so basically you have 2 connectors coming in, one for each radios. Pin 1 through 6 are simple 12-volt switching. So wherever you put the 12 volts, this is the antenna you've selected. 8 and 9. 9 is your ground, which is cool. Okay. 8 is an 12-volt input. The reason why is that there is a 12-volt and a 24-volt version of this, the difference being the relays. 12-volt for very long distance installation. Most installations are done with the 12 volts, not the 24. But if you're using a 24, then you can bring in 12-volt over here to apply to other devices inside the boxes, the box being very large. The design is 30 relays, 5 relays per antenna, which is how we're able to get, they're very high quality relays, but that's how we're basically able to get 80 dB isolation. This is how it comes in when it's first delivered to you, and basically you open it up, you line up and attach your 2 grounds. You have pre-drilled over here to attach, if you're, let's say, doing a tower installation, to hook it up to the tower. Obviously, if you're not using, you simply block the holes with the screws that come. Everything is in the kit. And the installation is fairly simple. Bring in your cable. You got watertight connectors. Bring in your cables, hook it up to the 2 connectors that do come out. And after you've done that, you can turn around and attach your grounds, close the box, you're done. Couple of features that we offer, options. You can stack onto here, the interlock board. What does the interlock board do? It prevents you from connecting the 2 radios to the same antennas. If you try to connect the 2 radios to the same antennas, the interlock board will prevent that from happening and will give you an alarm. The alarm can be wired back down to the shack, or the interlock board can be installed in the shack before cabling to the radio. What we normally suggest is that the interlock board, thanks to the special brackets we offer, be stacked inside the enclosure. The other new feature, which is another new product that Gary insists on me doing, is going to come out in early 2024, and we're basically going to offer a simple antenna selecting box that's going to show you where you're connected and if you've got an alarm. That's basically it for this guy. Any questions?
I mean, the instructions at the moment we were talking earlier about sort of like schematics and what's needed to
Yes.
actually get this to go. So we're going to, everything is always, as always, is in development, and you know, that's really good fun. But this looks a really interesting sort of product.
Yeah, the instructions are all very clear in the manual.
Yeah.
We're always updating the manuals. They're on our website at VE2DX.com. And we're going to be adding in December simple diagrams for a remote switch and the instructions on to install the interlock boards. Hopefully we'll make some arrangements to get some interlock boards over here at ML&S, trying to give them a hint.
Yeah. Well, I've already upset the apple cart because you know, I've asked for a new product, and yeah, I mean,
last Monday. And the design was finished by Friday before I jumped on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys will see that probably end of January.
Yeah, I think you're going to like that.
Yeah, I'm going to send one to Gary so he can use a sledgehammer on it, make sure everything is fine.
Yeah,
but,
well, we've got engineers upstairs, so
I think this new product is going to be nice. It's basically
it's something for everyone.
Oh yeah, it's basically going to be an SDR TR switch, basically an external device that detects if you're transmitting, and if you are, disconnects your SDR receiver if it's external.
Yeah.
Very simple device, beautiful device. The design and the shielding you guys are going to love, and something Gary doesn't know.
Go on. I
am working on for probably Hamvention date in 2024. I'm working on a 1 to 4 switch that will work from 1 megahertz to 1 gigahertz, guaranteed. These switches are mostly made for HF to 6 meters. The 1 to 4 switch that I'm going to be offering in as good a quality cabinet as this, and this is a NEMA cabinet, very high quality, is going to be from 1 megahertz to 1 gigahertz.
Brilliant.
Yes, a lot of people are asking for that, and that will be available hopefully before Dayton.
Okay, excellent. Well, okay, that just really leaves us to sort of say thanks very much for coming in, Richard. That has been such an education. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you need any information, please email the sales team, sales@hamradio.co.uk. You can always give the store a call on 0345 2300 599. And as always, if you need any support, you can email support@hamradio.co.uk.
And keep in mind, we're here to help them, so don't worry, we're backing them up.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.